I think it's fair to say you have some allies in the Trump administration now, and the suggestion in the New York Times piece was that you have been peddling influence in Washington for the industry and for Tether. So how much of Tether's future success actually hangs on Donald Trump staying in power?
I think that the success of Tether is dependent from actually the success of the United States, right? So we are just exporters of what we believe to be the best product the United States ever created, that is the US dollar. So if you go in the streets everywhere outside the United States and Europe, you stop 1,000 people, you ask them, would you prefer to hold your national currency or the US dollar? At least 999 will say, I want the US dollar. And so that is what we're doing. And so I think that the regulations of stablecoins will embrace that and will help us to work in a more regulated environment. That is something that we really desire.
You've also hinted at a domestic US stablecoin. This is something that the Trump administration is also hinting at as well, given the regulatory thaw that we've seen in the United States and, of course, Trump's most recent embrace of crypto. Is that something that you're looking at? And if so, how soon could it happen?
So a domestic stablecoin, I think, will be a different product than the international stablecoin because, as I said, an international stablecoin is made for the people that live in small villages in Africa, taxi drivers in Central South America, like in Buenos Aires, like a shop owner in Istanbul, right? So that is a product designed for high inflation markets. In the US, you have to create a payment product as something that would be used by institutions, something that can be used as a competitor of PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, and all that stuff, right? So that is what we are aiming for. And I think realistically, it depends on the timeline of the final legislation on stablecoins, but we are looking at by the end of this year or early next year at the fastest.
How do you provide all of that utility while also avoiding Tether being used by nefarious actors as it has been done in the past? The New York Times piece suggested that Tether is actually a favorite to use for criminals.
Well, I think that the New York Times misses the fact that the cash dollars by infinite quantities are used for nefarious activities, drugs and criminality and terrorism and all that, right? So everyone knows that there are cash pallets going around the world. So I think it's important to put this in context. I think that USDT being the most successful stablecoin out there is used by 67% of the entire market, right? But in terms of the entire crypto market. But the good thing and the most reassuring thing is that Tether has ecosystem monitoring tools. We are the only stablecoin, even considering the US domestic stablecoin, that onboarded the FBI, United States Secret Services. We work basically very constantly with the Department of Justice. We work with more than 230 law enforcement agencies across more than 50 countries. There is no company, no institution, even traditional financial system that has such a breadth of collaboration with law enforcement. We don't wait for court orders. Imagine police trying to track wires that go internationally across multiple courts, multiple jurisdictions is a mess. With stablecoins, with USDT, every action is traceable on blockchain, and so that is what is making more powerful. And a great example is Tether being able to work with the Department of Justice. We worked with them for months to freeze the assets on a Russian cryptocurrency exchange that was sanctioned called Garantex. So that proves our level of collaboration with the US law enforcement. So the New York Times, unfortunately, has their facts wrong, and they should study more.
Will you commit to investing more in enforcement action to ensure that nefarious actors and criminals aren't using Tether to their own advantage?
Well, I must say that our team is great. We have an amazing investigation team, but always we are looking to do more partnerships. We are actually continue to develop new partnerships with international law enforcement. We have been working with NBCTF, for example, the National Bureau of Counterterrorism. We are in discussions with we are doing education also with law enforcement because we have a great team, but we need also to have on the other side someone that can collaborate with us very quickly. And so, yes, the answer is absolutely. We are always trying to do better and more to block criminal activity because, honestly, again, we have much better tools than the traditional financial system, and we're proving that every day, and we're going to continue to prove it.
Paolo, let me ask you this as well. Tether has previously been called a stablecoin without stability. So I want your take on what's actually changed, particularly when it comes to the backing of these tokens.
Well, I think that someone that said that is probably a bank that is doing fractional reserve by the rate of 90%. So banks are only actually reserved 10%. So it's funny that they are. It's like in Italy we say the bull is accusing the donkey to be horned. It's actually Tether is backed more than 100%. We have the best backing in the world. We have U.S. Treasuries. I think we are very, very close to have 120 billion in U.S. Treasuries in our reserves. Tether has, at the latest attestation, actually, I think today or tomorrow will come the new attestation, but the last attestation was the 31st of December 2024. We had 7 billion in excess equity within the company capital, right? That is really unprecedented. I wish that financial institutions and the traditional financial system would at least try to copy us to provide better products for the consumers.
If there was another market panic, you can guarantee that every Tether would be backed and redeemable and able to be extracted as a result.
Absolutely. In 2022, we were attacked by short sellers. We were able to redeem $7 billion in 48 hours and more than $20 billion in 25 days. That was more than 25% of our reserves, while Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, Silvergate, and New York Community Bank all blew up. Credit Suisse blew up. Washington Mutual in 2008. No bank was ever able to redeem more than 10% of their reserves. So it's funny again that they're attacking us while the traditional financial system is much, much weaker. We have more liquid assets than the total issued tokens.
Just before I let you go, Paolo, one final question here on the impact of Tether in DC and these allegations of influence in the United States. How often are you speaking with Howard Lutnick?
I cannot actually speak to him because there are proper walls given potential conflicts of interest. So we are not talking to him. We have great relationships with many people now in the U.S., also in Washington, and so on. So look, we are just interested to educate on what we do and explain why what we're doing at Tether is so fundamental also for the US dollar hegemony. When we're seeing BRICS really pushing against the US dollar dominance, I think it's very important for everyone to understand that, in the countries where we operate, like in Africa, in Central South America, there is not much presence of the United States, apart maybe McDonald's. There is much presence of for example, China and other countries that are pushing for replacing the US dollar with another currency. So I think it's very important that everyone hears that.